And now for the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yes, yes, yes.
Marvin watched Star Wars. Now,
This
Marvin,
is where the fun
Uh-oh,
begins.
this
where
is
do
where
we
the
even
fun
start?
begins. Like the reference. For those of you who don't know, we decided that we were going to watch and do weekly episode recaps of Andor, which is now on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
You could watch those breakdowns over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/harsh language. I forget what the actual custom link is, but you could just
Harsh Language Podcast.
there you go, Harsh
Yes.
Language Podcast, and there's the links places. So go watch those and sub to us.
Yes.
You will sub to our YouTube channel. Star Wars, the movie that changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Probably one of the most iconic franchises. Probably the most iconic IP of all time. I would have to say. Don't tilt your head at me in disagreement.
Any head filters?
I mean, it's just the impact that it's had on pop culture, I think, is immeasurable. Even now, in 2022, you are captivated by this story
I was, yeah.
that captivated so many people years ago and for this whole fucking time. And, so we got the original Star Wars at the time, not A New Hope, just Star Wars. That came out in 1977. And that was followed by The Empire Strikes Back in 1980 and then Return of the Jedi in 1983. So not too long of a span. Less than 10 years these three movies came out. One of the big things for you, Marvin, I remember, we've joked about it plenty of times, is you didn't like the special effects. But turns out you were watching the wrong movie. But even still, did you have any trouble with the special effects?
Not really. There was a couple of cheesy ones.
Yeah.
But not even really in Star Wars or A New Hope or whatever. It was more in what's the second one? Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Which one?
Like the
Do you remember?
the effects. the
Yeah,
cheesy effects.
which effect was it specifically?
He may
Probably
be
the
talking about
Tauntaun fucking
the added CGI that Lucas changed later.
Oh yeah,
maybe it was that.
that
I don't
actually
know,
might be.
'cause, yeah.
You talking about the
I don't know
Tauntaun that
which
was just like
version.
randomly in the foreground for no reason?
When it was running, it was really it did look really bad.
When I was talking to you when you were watching them, and I was like, you probably watched one of the re-releases.
Yeah, because it's hard to tell.
He fucking added like random animals that just like cross in front of the fucking foreground, like
Yeah,
covering
yeah.
everything on the screen for no reason. It's like, bro, like what? This dude, I told you, he got
put
like
that in. Put that in. Yeah.
he got like super obsessed with special effects, like or
Right.
CGI rather, when it became a thing.
Mhm.
That stuff aside, I thought maybe you would have had a problem with like the stop motion of like the AT-ATs or stuff like that, but
No, it wasn't that bad. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was able to kind of just overlook it. It wasn't really that.
Well, it's because a
jarring
lot of
for
it
me.
was really good special effects and not really bad CGI.
Yeah. What was it like waiting for the moment that you knew was coming of
Oh, you mean the fucking
I am your
spoiler
father? Yeah.
that everyone says that I've
Mhm.
known since birth?
Yeah,
that
you,
one?
you pop out of the womb knowing that.
Pop out
shit.
of the womb knowing that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was it like?
Like, did you
I didn't know exactly which. First off, I didn't know which movie it happened in. So
Well,
that was a
forget
plus
the
for
scene
me.
itself. I just mean the fact that like Vader is Luke's father. Going into it. It's such a huge
It's pretty-
moment.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how to really describe it. Like I told you guys when I was watching,
Yeah.
it still hit pretty decently when I saw it because of the time I guess I had invested in
Okay.
building up to it.
Okay.
I think it still hits pretty good, even with knowing the spoiler.
I also went back and watched them. I have been watching them. And one of the things that always stood out to me and still does is that fight between Vader and Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan in the Death Star.
Yeah.
It is
Why does
so
that stand out?
because it's just so bad. It's so bad. Like just the choreography. They're like barely.
Oh yeah,
like-
they were barely like moving around like Snoop Dogg. Like that's just gonna be the reference now. Every time someone's moving in slow motion, I'm just gonna say they're moving like Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Yeah,
I
because you
feel
could,
like they kind of when they take out these big characters, they make it way too easier when they're dying, like when you're seeing them die, and then like when they tell the story, they're like, damn, well, why did he go out like a fucking bitch then? Like that's like he was the shit. Like when I go and watch the prequels and these sorts of things, right? But then I saw him die so easily. I'm like, come on, like. But I understand that he has to die, or he's sacrificing.
That's
himself.
interesting because I
But-
always thought that original scene like makes it pretty clear that he's like allowing himself to, like he just puts his thing up and like closes his eyes, like he knows what's gonna happen.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I don't really understand why he necessarily had to give up so easily. He's trying to help them
Because-
escape, right?
Well, no,
So-
not only in death could he ascend to what he said. If you strike me down,
Yeah.
I'll be more powerful than you could ever imagine. And
Right.
that's becoming like one
he
with the
needed to
force.
become a force ghost, to help Luke.
Being one with being a force ghost is literally being one with the force. Like it's
Yeah.
the most elevated state of a force user.
Right.
So
I
and
don't
then-
see how he can help better as a ghost than like just being alive and actually helping.
because he's old and feeble, like he as a ghost, he could just fucking use the force, Luke. Use
That's
the
true.
force.
He can just shout from the clouds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Mufasa instead of
then-
just.
Yeah. And then show up at a celebration in a forest later on.
I think Vader killing somebody in like the first 30 minutes really set the tone for him as a character. Like I was like, oh shit, okay, I understand now. This is-
Killing
force
somebody?
choke.
This is
I feel
Force
like the
choke,
force
probably.
choke does it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He force choked
Yeah,
the
he
guy in
still
like the
killed him.
first 30 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie and killed him. Yeah.
Well, no, I was talking about in like the first 10 minutes of the, well, is it 10 minutes? I don't even know when it happens, but when, I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, you saying when he? Yeah. That was
Yeah.
that was pretty. That was a pretty iconic moment.
The
too.
movie actually does a really good job of sort of explaining a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of lore in it, and it's explaining things, but they're like throwaway lines. It's like the movie almost presents stuff to you, and I don't know if this was done deliberately or if this was just a byproduct of George Lucas's sloppy writing and like script. There's like a lot of stories about that, but they present the story to you as if you already know it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they do. For
Like
sure.
in that one particular
Yeah.
scene, that's a great example because, he says like, "Oh, you're don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant compared to the Force," or whatever he says.
Right.
And the other guy's just like, "Don't try to scare us with your sorcerer's ways. Your devotion to that ancient religion." And right away, you're like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I know what's going on here."
Yeah.
And there's like no, you don't need any more context. And again, I don't know if that's like a credit to like good writing, which probably partially, or what. But I'm a big pet peeve of mine when watching anything, movies, shows, or whatever, is when like they give you like so much exposition that it like comes off as cheesy.
hmm
Well, I think it comes down to the lore too. Like if you have a complicated lore that you have to explain, well, why this? Well, what about that? Well, why like the simplicity of, well, this is
Yeah.
the Jedi and the Sith, the good side and the bad side. It's pretty simple. So exposition is easy to explain.
Another memorable part for me, there's a quote from Luke. He says, "There's nothing for me here now.
Yeah.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father."
Mhm.
So in my head, not in that moment, but later on, I'm like inserting the scene from Get Out where the maid lady is like, "Oh no."
Well, that's
'Cause, bruh, after knowing what I know,
Yeah.
I'm like, good Lord, I'm glad Luke wasn't getting no coochie. Because, you was a good man, Luke, abstaining from these earthly desires. Because your daddy fucked the whole game up after he got some. That was it.
Yeah, we could talk more about that. That goes more into our conversation from last night over DM. But yeah, and that line comes back full circle in Return of the Jedi when the Emperor is trying to fucking massage Luke's rage and anger to get him to turn to the dark side. And then Luke, he says, "I will never join you. I am a Jedi like my father before me." Ooh,
Right.
I just got a little
You
choke in my throat.
failed. Yeah.
Man, that's so good because I I don't know if they really do a great job of explaining it, to be honest. Like, again, it's hard to tell because I know the stuff already. But
Yeah.
like Uncle Owen that he's living with when you meet him for the first time, like he's told that his father was a Jedi and died in battle in the Clone
Right.
Wars.
hmm
So he just thinks his father was like a good dude.
Right. Right.
I don't know. Did they tell him he was a Jedi, or they just tell him he died in the wars? I don't know that they actually told him he was a
Oh
Jedi.
no, you know what? You're right. Ben, I think Obi-Wan tells him when they like meet up that, oh, your
Right.
father was a Jedi, served with me in the Clone Wars, whatever. And he goes like, my father was a
Yeah,
Jedi? I think you're right about that.
Why you said Ben? Why is Obi-Wan referred to as Ben? Is that just like some white people shit like Richard and Dick, or is that just like
Well,
what's the yes?
I mean, you've now finished the prequel, so you should understand this. So after Order 66, like the remaining Jedi went into hiding. He just changed his name, even though like Kenobi
Oh, that's right.
doesn't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
do
yeah,
much
okay.
of a name change. If I
Right,
change my
yeah,
name to
that's
fucking Ben, whatever my last name is, like
yeah,
people gonna be like, what?
yeah. Okay, okay. I got it now.
My favorite moment, since we're talking about favorite moments from the original one, is probably, it's not even like a really big moment, but it has become an iconic scene, and it's the shot of Luke outside his house with the two suns going down
Mm.
Tatooine. It's like, it's such like a famous scene. It's actually in our intro. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but I
did
love
not
it.
even
It's
know.
not even like a moment of story or anything. It's just a beautiful shot.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite is probably, I think it's is it? I'm pretty sure it's Empire Strikes Back, where Luke goes into the cave in Dagobah, and Yoda's like, you don't need that, you know.
Oh, that's my favorite
take
scene
what
from
take
that
what
too.
you with. Like he Yoda tries to tell him, you don't need that weapon, and he takes it anyways because there's got that self defense mindset. You never know, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think he has some sort of realization that, kind of a way of the samurai. Like if I'm going to go in with a sword, this is the type of, shit I'm going to face. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
got to be prepared for it. But
And
I
he
think,
sees the
yeah,
vision
just-
of himself beheading Vader.
Mhm.
Mask breaks open.
And it's
Oh
him.
fuck, it's me.
has some
That
realization.
shit was
yeah.
crazy. That was a good one.
It was a great scene.
Obi-Wan gives Luke his dad's lightsaber.
Mhm.
Okay. I watched the trilogy.
Mhm.
I watched the prequels. I
Mhm.
don't recall when Obi-Wan got the lightsaber. Was it after he chopped his legs off in Revenge of the Sith?
I don't think it's ever addressed until the Obi-Wan show.
Oh. What?
And in the Obi-Wan show, he's just like a big fan of burying lightsabers in the desert. Yeah. The
Damn.
box that he pulls it
Okay.
out of in Star Wars is very prominently featured in the Obi-Wan show. It's like his box of tricks or like memorabilia.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Well, he just buried it one day and got it.
Very simple story of like, hey, we're the rebellion. We're fighting against this evil empire. They're bad. We got the plans to destroy their big mega weapon, and we got to get in there and do it. And Luke, you're going to help us, some farm boy.
The old moisture.
You can
farmer.
always rely on a
Mhm.
good farm boy. That is true.
Yeah. And, we catch back up to these people in Empire Strikes Back. And as the title
we do.
suggests, the Empire does in fact strike back.
So,
A new Death Star, Marvin.
yeah. Okay. First, when Han cuts open the fucking tauntaun for Worm, that's some real Bear Grylls
Oh, yeah.
high IQ shit right
Oh, yeah.
there.
It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they need a new, more powerful Death Star?
Because they're the Empire. They say it in the
That's
first
just
one.
OD, dude. Just make the shit as strong as the other one with less vulnerability. What,
Well,
you
you-
want to be able to destroy a whole goddamn galaxy now instead of a fucking planet?
It's not so much wanting to use it. It's the fact that
Oh, yeah.
it's the control. It's the thing that controls everything. Like I showed you the map, right?
Yeah.
I sent
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
the map of like the Star Wars galaxy, and like it's a galaxy. It's fucking huge. There's shit all over the place.
Mhm.
So, how would one control such a vast place under one power, under one leadership? Well, you have to have a fucking
Fear.
weapon. Yeah, exactly. Fear. And that's the fucking weapon. Oh shit, if we step out of line, these motherfuckers are gonna roll up and just blast our shit
Right.
out of the universe, out of existence. So that's
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's the simple answer. Yeah, Empire Strikes Back does give a lot of new stuff in terms of like character development stuff, right? You get way more
Oh,
character
man.
development to Luke, way more into Han, way more into Leia,
Yep.
Vader. You meet Palpatine for the first time.
Yeah.
That's actually changed too in the hologram message from Palpatine to Vader.
Uh huh.
That's in Empire Strikes Back, right? Yeah, I think it is. That was a different actor. It wasn't Ian McDermott.
Yeah, I wanted to say it was Ian something.
Yeah. That's
Dude,
his name.
Obi-Wan talking from the clouds and shit, it just was pissing me off. I mean, I understand it now. Like we were saying about the last one, I felt like he went out stupidly, but the way you put it, it makes it make more sense.
Yeah. And then Empire Strikes Back also introduces a huge fan favorite for really no reason whatsoever in Boba Fett.
Mm,
Did you fall in love with Boba Fett, Marvin, like every 80s nerd?
not really.
There's nothing to fall in
Not
love
really.
with. He doesn't do anything, and he barely
doesn't do
says a
shit.
word.
Yeah.
He was the badass that caught.
Yeah. But people
Oh.
love Boba
See,
Fett.
Maybe people. I didn't think Han was all that myself, so maybe that's why I didn't think
Mm.
catching Han was that. Han was always like
Dusty is pissed.
the over like, it felt like he was gonna get caught.
Yeah, because he's got like that arrogance, fucking.
Yeah, like he was arrogant. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's his thing. And I haven't seen, sorry, shoot me. I haven't seen the Han Solo movie because I heard it wasn't really that good, but I'm sure that also goes into a little bit of that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
His little piracy beginnings.
Right. That would be
Yeah.
interesting to see. I can't wait till I get to that one, actually.
He's a smuggler. He gets caught. He,
Mhm.
he has to lie sometimes to the people he's doing deals with, and he has to backstab them.
Yeah.
To pay the other guy. Like when you're dealing with dirty scoundrels, sometimes you have to do some mischievous things to
Right.
get out of a sticky situation.
Yep.
So I mentioned this to you guys when I was watching this, but
Mhm.
I felt like this love connection between Han and Leia was so forced. It just felt like they really needed some type of romance in the movie. And they didn't want the incest with Leia and Luke. So they were like, okay, yeah, let's throw these two together to get a little romance action.
I could see that being a thing.
Because it just was, there was no build up. I didn't feel it.
There's
It
a
didn't
lot
feel
of forced
legit to me.
romance in Star Wars, Marvin, as you will come to find out. But
I thought like the Anakin
No,
Padme thing was better.
that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Maybe I haven't seen. That's why I haven't seen it yet. then.
No, the Padme Anakin thing, I would hope would be good because it's literally the fucking crux. It's like literally the main plot of like the entire Skywalker saga.
Yeah. If
Uh,
that was bad, then yeah.
it all ends and begins with Anakin's love for Padme, as I mentioned in our argument. And then in Return of the Jedi, we talked a little bit about it. Luke rejects the Emperor's tricks and deceptions.
Yes.
Finally proclaims that he is a Jedi like his father before him. And we see the turn in Vader back into Anakin, where he finally saves Luke, kills the Emperor. Yay. The galaxy is saved.
Yeah. The duel between Luke and Vader in Cloud City. I mean, it's obviously an amazing duel. And I don't really
Mhm.
have words to describe it, but he cuts off his right hand,
Mm-hmm.
and they both had their right hands severed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at some interpretations of this, and I saw some things saying that if your hand is cut off, it could represent corruption in your spiritual life. And I thought that was kind of interesting, knowing the story of both of the characters. Why did they both have their right hands severed?
I mean, listen,
Right, like from a writing perspective, I guess.
I can't imagine it goes any deeper than just like like I said, this goes back to like, did he have this whole shit mapped out? Because
Mm,
if he did,
Well,
it makes sense. But I don't
yeah.
think he did. I think they just decided to cut off Luke's hand, and then later on, when they made the prequels, it's like, oh, it'd be cool if we cut off Anakin's hand too, because then they both have their right hands cut off. That's
Right.
probably what it
Okay.
was.
So
And
a little more
Yes.
simple.
Yeah, and
The story of
similarly,
convenience.
yeah,
Yeah.
and similarly with Dusty and I's argument, we keep bringing it up, so we might as well just tell the audience that what we're talking about. We had a little bit of a back and forth about what the true nature of the prophecy of the Chosen One was, and what it meant to be, what it means to be truly in balance with the Force. Dusty over here believes that the dark side represents evil, light, good. I disagree. I think it comes down to the user, but that's not what we're going to talk about. But again, that's something else that I did want to bring up because it's an argument that is purely fan driven, right? Like there's no way, absolutely no chance Lucas sat down and was like thinking into this like deep philosophy of good, of good and evil and like all this stuff. And
Right.
like by his own admission, like the dark side equals bad, the light equals good. And that's what many fans, believe, and rightfully so. There's no reason to think any deeper into it. So a lot of these things I would venture to guess are probably just like, oh, we did this thing. Like this would be a cool callback if we like related it this way.
Right. So I think Return is probably my favorite of the OG
Okay.
trilogy.
Yeah, Empire Strikes
But I was
Back
telling
is
you guys, what was it? What's the
Revenge of the
third
Sith.
prequel? Revenge of the Sith is probably my favorite
Yeah.
so far.
Total.
Yeah,
Even more than Rogue One, because I know you really liked Rogue One.
I think so. In the context of the actual story, the main story wise,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. Out of the original trilogy, I would say, man, it's really hard. It's a hard toss-up between Empire and Return. It's really hard. Man. I don't know. Maybe Return of the Jedi, I would say, is probably my favorite out of the three. What about you, Dusty?
Really,
I like Empire.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
I
yeah.
think Return was the weakest of the original trilogy.
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah,
I thought you just said that one's your favorite.
no, I said Revenge of the Sith is my favorite.
No, I'm not talking about the prequels, the original trilogy.
Yeah, I said the second one. I said
Oh,
was
Empire
my
Strikes
favorite.
Back. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood. Well, I don't know. For me, it boils down to that one line of "I am a Jedi like my father before me." It's like it
Yeah.
brings the whole fucking thing home, and then it's like even more reinforced by the prequels that like he was a great Jedi, really, Anakin, until he got corrupted and stuff
Yeah, I mean that's a big fucking deal though.
and killed children. But it wasn't
Well,
really him.
One more thing I wanted to say about Empire.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about this because you guys were debating.
Yeah.
So we talked about my favorite scene and Dusty's favorite scene when Luke goes into the cave.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when Luke was trying to move his fighter out of the swamp. And
Mm-hmm.
he says he'll try. Yoda says,
There
do
is
or
no-
do not. There is no try.
Yep.
But I was thinking,
Only Sith deal in
I
absolutes.
thought only Siths deal in absolutes.
That's why
Am I
I'm
looking
right.
too deep in this one?
No, that's why
Thoughts?
I'm right. I am right.
I didn't really like the first part with all the aliens, but I understand the importance of rescuing Han and not making it seem too easy.
Right.
And there was also some alien nipple action going on, which I mentioned. And
Yeah,
I was
you
kind of
could-
giving the side eye since this shit was PG, but
Yeah, you could
Dusty
see nipples
explained.
back then.
a lot of nips.
Yep.
Got a little
Um,
education on PG ratings back
they-
in the 80s.
They had Leia looking right, though. You know what I'm saying? I
Did-
see you, Han.
You know
I
how
get
many
it
Marvin?
now.
I don't mean
get
to
it.
be crude, but do you know how
Crude.
many seeds have been spilled to slave Leia throughout the 80s and 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot more children have been killed than what Anakin killed.
We're
in the
spoiled,
prequels.
Marvin. We want to fucking jerk off. All we got to do is pull up our phones, pull up some free porn for 30 seconds, and we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day, they didn't have none of that shit. You had to either fucking risk a beating by fucking sneaking out your dad's Playboys, or fucking your mom's like fucking bikini magazines, like, the fucking Macy's magazines, and look at girls in bikinis. Or you had fucking slave Leia. Like that was the material right back then.
That's it.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen. And, one other thing I want to mention, since we're talking about Leia, You know, we're always joking around about this woke bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Anytime we review something where there's like a fucking, even like the slight inkling of a female presence, people fly off the handle. They say it's woke, it's fucking, it's virtue signaling, it's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Leia is the fucking OG strong female in movies.
Right.
There are others too, but like she's an icon, and she's an icon for a reason. Like it's one of the reasons why I didn't like Obi-Wan. We'll talk about that another day. Yeah, she fucking killed Jabba. She
Choked his ass out.
She fucking led the resistance. Like, she's a bad bitch. Okay?
Yeah, she is, dog. Man.
So I don't want to hear about this shit anytime there's a strong female portrayed in modern movies where people are thinking it's like the first fucking time and it's virtue signaling. We've had strong women in film and television before. Leia being one of them. Sarah Connor, fucking Ripley. Like, there's a ton. So shut the fuck up. Thank you. That's my little rant.
Thank you.
What else did you want to say about Jedi, Marvin?
So, Vader dies.
I real quick, Palpatine goes out kind of like a bitch too for being like the grand ruler of this fucking empire.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why does
But it goes to show
people go out like bitches.
I think that goes to show how strong Vader is. Like that Vader's able to withstand the Force lightning enough to just like toss him over. What I find interesting and curious is whoever the engineer was for the Empire should have been fired. The fact that you have a pit inside the Emperor's throne room, that doesn't seem
with the reactor.
Yeah, with the reactor at the bottom of it. Yeah,
Emperor.
That doesn't seem to be safe. But who's to say?
I didn't forgive Anakin.
You didn't forgive Anakin?
Nope, not forgiven.
I'm
sorry. Like
what?
What?
Oh, for killing kids?
Yes, killing kids, fucking betraying all those Jedi folks.
Okay, well here's the thing.
I'm like, you kind of redeem yourself, but really it was only like 5% redemption, dog. Like, you're still a piece of shit to me, and I will never forgive you.
Well, man, I can't really.
That's just how I feel.
I can't really bring it up without spoiling something for you.
Oh, God. Is it a big spoiler, though?
It's not really. I'm surprised you haven't figured it out already.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I'm not surprised, actually. You asked a question last night, and I kind of like refrained from answering it. You asked like, you didn't ask the question. You kind of did. You were like, oh, so that's why Obi-Wan thinks Vader was dead, or tells Luke that his father was dead, or something. You said something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if you missed it or if I just misread what you were asking, but there is a clear distinction between Vader and Anakin that they flesh out a little bit more in the Obi-Wan show.
Oh, okay.
So when you're blaming Anakin for the actions that he did, it's not really Anakin. Like, it's him, but it's not.
But it is.
It's like having a split personality. He was so corrupted by not the dark side, but Palpatine, that he almost became a different person.
Oh, I see. So that's why Vader is so subservient. Is that why he's so subservient to Palpatine, even after he knows that Padme is fucking dead?
It's one of the reasons. Yeah, he sort of sheds his old identity after a while, and part of that is probably because of the trauma of killing children and all the things that he did when he was when his judgment was so clouded, right? Losing Padme and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and you know, they make a very slight mention of it in the originals when Obi-Wan tells Luke, like, hey, your father died. He separates the two. Now, again, in terms of writing, I don't know if this was planned, but at least now, as we have it in lore, he deliberately tells Luke, your father was a great Jedi and died in the Clone Wars. Vader was another apprentice of mine that I failed with. Wow. Like he clearly makes the distinction of two. Yeah. And again, they fleshed that out a little bit more in the Obi-Wan show. But Anakin represents like all the good parts of the person, where Vader is like all the bad, evil parts. So maybe next we'll talk about the prequel trilogy and find out what you thought about that. Yeah. But
Bantha fodder.
I'm glad you're on board on the Star Wars train. You'd consider yourself a fan now? Like, are you a devoted fan?
pretty devoted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next on the list for you on the watch list?
The Clone Wars movie
Okay.
And then the show.
and then the show.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Dusty just got erect. He's been waiting
Good
for you to
stuff.
get to the Clone Wars. He's been talking about it nonstop.
It's one of the
Uh,
best stories in the universe.
Marvin, haven't seen the 6 films. Would you agree with the statement I made a couple of weeks back when I said it's the greatest story ever told? The Skywalker saga, as you know it so far. Chosen one, meant to bring balance to the Force,
I don't know.
fucks up, and ultimately is redeemed.
I think the series has a lot of legacy bias as well as like innovation bias. I don't know if I would call it the best story of all time.
All right. You're dead to me. Well, all right. Well, that brings us to a good closing point then. So you're talking about legacy bias here, which I
Yeah.
What
mean,
about one of the greatest? Not what about one of the greatest?
One of the greatest, yeah.
Okay.
I would have to really think.
So you could
about,
put it in a top 3 or a top 5, but you wouldn't put it in number 1.
I don't know. I would have to think about it more.
All right.
I don't want to just give it number one.
Just
Marvin's
needed
gonna-
clarification because Dan's over here an absolute dealer.
yeah.
Right, this fucking
Any
guy.
absolute dealers?
This guy is dealing a lot of absolutes right now. Good Lord.
Well, so before we started recording, I took a average of the 3 films and their IMDb ratings, and the average of all 3 is 8.5. If you want to know what they are individually in order of release, 8.6, 8.7, 8.3. So 8.5 being the average. Marvin, let's hear it. How would you rate the trilogy? The trilogy.
The trilogy in its totality, I'm going to give it an 8.
An
I'm
8.
giving it an 8.
Okay. Dusty, where you at?
I'll go with the average. I like 8.5 for this. It's a great story.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you, the 8.5. There's only one return, Marvin, and it ain't of the king. It's of the Empire. I mean, Jedi. Sorry, I fucked that line up. It's from Clerks too.
See? He's letting it out, guys. You guys are Sith over here.
Yeah.
Return of the Empire.
Return of the Empire.
Return of the Empire. That's a movie I made up in my head. But yeah, no, I'm glad you like it, Marvin. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that we could talk about it now and not make fun of you for it.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm excited to see what you think about the other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to get to the shows that have been on, namely Book of Boba Fett. Well,
The new live action stuff. Yeah, because there'll be some stuff in there.
Mandalorian, there's like a thing in that.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I learned a lot about Boba Fett
Oh,
in
yeah.
the prequels.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he's the fucking,
He's
he's the original
a
clone.
fucking clone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
So-
blew my mind too. but
So yeah, that's exciting. I'm also excited for you to watch the new trilogy because I want to know if you think it's dog shit or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Because one of my friends, a good friend of mine, she was trying to sit here and explain to me that they're
It's
so
better.
good. I'm like, are you fucking mad? Like, who are you right now? I was very offended. But anyway, yeah. So there you have it, folks. Marvin saw Star Wars finally.
Mhm.
Let us know what you think of the original trilogy.
I'm gonna get tore to shreds in the fucking comments.
Yeah, I don't even know what we covered. I don't even know if this was a
It's gonna
coherent
be
review.
bad.
I don't even-
People will go easy on you because you're new. They might rip me or Dan to shreds for some of the
Yeah.
shit we
Oh,
said.
Dan, you're going down. Dan.
Oh yeah. There's gonna
Sith
be a
Lord over here.
fucking 12-page essay on the Force about
You
why
are
I'm wrong.
done, kid. And here's why.
But yeah, let us know what you think of this original trilogy. Are you as in love with it as everybody else is, or are you like Marvin, where it's like, yeah, it's good, but like, okay, get over it. Marvin didn't say get over it. That's not fair. He said it had like
I
legacy
wasn't
bias.
that. Yeah, I wasn't that like
The legacy
it's
bias
okay.
comment was a
I
little
thought
bit
it was
dismissive.
great.
The legacy
Yeah.
bias comment's a little dismissive. That's all I'm
Is
saying.
it?
A little bit. But
I mean,
It's one of the greatest franchises of all time. It is.
Yeah.
One
well, I
of the
said
greatest
legacy
stories ever
and
told.
innovation bias.
you did say
So-
that too. Yeah, a little dismissive.
But I mean, to be fair, he borrowed a lot of his stuff from another story. So
Oh,
story
You're
of
done,
Jesus.
Dusty. Both of you guys are fucking done in the comments.
It's true. Dune is where he got it. Dune is one of the greatest sci-fi novels of all time. George Lucas got a lot of his inspiration from that story.
Ooh.
That's where it came from. So you could argue that Dune is a better story than.
When
I'm
was-
gonna go watch Dune.
When was
immediately.
the Dune novel? When was that? When did that come out? 1965. Okay.
Should I read Dune or watch it? What do
Well,
you think?
you're a reader enjoyer. A read enjoyer.
Yeah, if you're a reader, read it.
Okay,
Definitely
hell yeah.
read the book.
I can't be reading
Definitely read.
shit.
Hell yeah.
I don't have
It's
the
not even
patience.
that. It's only 400 pages.
Yeah, I haven't read the book in a while. I have the graphic novel, but they just released it, and it's only part 1 of the book, which I burned through pretty quick. I'm still
Mm.
waiting on volume 2 to come out, which is the original story. But
Right.
Dune is a great. I don't know. Dan, you guys haven't seen the new movie yet, have you?
I
No.
haven't.
That might be a make Marlon watch.
Add it to the list.
But anyways,
Yep, we're
Yes,
out of here,
yes.
folks. Let us know once again what you think. You can hit us up on Twitter or check out our website, harshlanguage.tv. Catch up on past episodes. And go check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/harshlanguagepodcast. Hit us with the sub, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Costa.